Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Petty Woman. Am I the a-hole for financially screwing over my sister after finding out she's close with my ex and his wife? Usually, I wouldn't take personal advice from strangers online, but everyone in my life seems to think I'm a petty, scorned, bitter woman, which I probably am, and I need objective advice. My ex-husband, currently 43 male, and I, 43 female, were college sweethearts. For me, life felt perfect. I trusted him completely. That's why it was so shocking when I found out he was in love with his much younger colleague. She was around 24 at the time. I won't get into the details of how I found out, but the affair was well known at his workplace. When I confronted him, all he said was, "I'm sorry, I tried really hard not to fall for her." He didn't seem sorry at all. It felt like he wanted me to leave him, so I did. That was 6 years ago. Our son was 4 then, and it was the worst time of my life. I honestly don't know how I got through it. And because I was desperate, I wanted him to fight for me, to fight for our family, but he didn't. He was quick to sign the divorce papers and didn't even fight for custody. It was as if he had started a new life and completely erased the old one. It took years of therapy to feel normal again, to stop checking that woman's social media and comparing myself to her. The fact that she's very pretty and charming didn't help. His family loved her, and as disgusting as it sounds, one of our common friends even said it out loud. "I don't support cheating, but I mean, look at her," when I told her about the cheating. I guess that's what everyone was thinking. This one was just stupid enough to voice it out. So I had to cut off that group of friends too. They got married 3 years ago and now have a daughter. A picture-perfect little family. The current arrangement is that our son stays with my ex on weekends and holidays, which works fine for the most part. Last week, I found out my sister, 28 female, has been in touch with my ex all these years. That would have been forgivable since they were close when we were married and she saw him as a brother, but she's actually best friends with his new wife. And she kept it from me for 6 years. I only found out because she left her phone at my house and I saw several texts from the wife. When I asked her about it, she just brushed it off and said it wasn't a big deal. I told her she can do what she wants, but I will be cutting her off completely. I was helping her pay her college loans, lol, and going no contact. She called me unreasonable and said I'm being petty and unable to move on from something that happened a long time ago. She also said the wife is a lovely person and a good friend. She said she will be effed, financially speaking. I told her to go F herself. Somehow, my parents agree with her. So, am I the a-hole? I'm sorry, OP, but no, you're not the a-hole. You're someone who got betrayed, rebuilt yourself, and is finally enforcing boundaries. Now, let's be clear. Your sister had 6 years friendship with the woman who helped blow up your marriage. That's not neutral. She took a side. But on top of that, she took your support and kept you in the dark. So let's be clear about one thing. You're not punishing her for liking your ex's wife. You're cutting her off because she supports your homewrecker. And you know what? You can call it petty if you want. You can call it revenge. I think it's self-protection, and protecting your peace is not up for negotiation, at least not for me. You owe her nothing. Not money, not contact, and definitely not an explanation because she knows what she did. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Fire or Water Kai says, so your sister only cared to have you pay her loans. That's why she kept it a secret, and that's why you shouldn't feel bad cutting her off. She needs to ask your lovely ex and his wife to foot the bill from here on out, not the a-hole. And Dopey responds, I know, she clearly chose a side during the divorce but pretended to be on mine for the money. Princess Bella 1 says, not the a-hole. Your sister has the right to be friends with whom she chooses to, and you have the right to do with your money as you wish. Take the money you have been contributing to her and put it in your son's college fund. Let your ex, his wife, and your parents pay for her school loans. Embarrassed Loss 584 says, not the a-hole. Sooner or later, one of those perfect people will cheat again, and you can eat some popcorn while all their friends take sides. And Opie responds, I don't doubt that, but honestly, this woman worships my ex. From what I've heard, she pursued him despite knowing he was married, and he didn't resist. He's a despicable human being, and so is she. Wade Wilson 101 says, not the a-hole. Anyone who sides with the cheater is probably a cheater themselves. Maybe your sister can ask your ex and his wife to help instead, seeing as how they are best friends. And Opie responds, it's strange, and I honestly don't know what level of pretty privilege this is, but no one seems to care what they did. They see two attractive people and act like that justifies everything. The cheating doesn't matter because they're easy to look at. If nothing else, it made it a lot easier for me to cut a lot of people out of my life. And PhotoBuff42 says, why the hell do your parents agree with your sister? I hope you get some therapy to deal with all the users in your life, not the a-hole. And Opie responds, my ex and my sister were pretty close all those years we were married. I mean, she's known him since she was a kid, so they think it's not fair for me to want her to cut him off completely. I would have been fine with that, but again, she hid this for 6 years, and being close friends with his wife is just pushing it too far. Additional information from Opie's comments. For those that can't believe my sister, yep, 6 years, countless interactions, and not a word. She saw me struggle for years, emotionally and mentally. I'm realizing now that I'm not done. I thought I was done with my share of dealing with betrayals, but I guess not, lol. Also, to those wondering if I told my son, the answer is no. My son enjoys his time with them and looks forward to it. I haven't thought that long into the future. He's 10 now. Maybe when he's older, I'll tell him the truth. I don't know, to be honest. Right now, he's happy with whatever arrangement we have. And whatever our issues are, that's still his dad who he adores. I am capable of setting aside my feelings for the sake of my child. The community agrees that Opie's sister absolutely sucks and that Opie is not the a-hole. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. This is my first and last update. So, I spoke to my sister again. She apologized for reacting that way the last time. Also, for keeping it from me all these years. She said she didn't tell me because she knew I would ask her to choose, and she didn't want to be in that position. She said she never wanted to hurt me, but at the same time, she couldn't bring herself to walk away from the people who had been there for her. She said it never felt fair to cut him off completely. Growing up, our parents were barely around. They were always busy with work, and for a long time, it was just me and my ex who were actually present in her life. He was like family to her. Then, she brought up the accident she was in around 5 years ago. I knew about it, of course. She had multiple fractures, hematomas, and internal bruising. She was in the hospital for a while and bedridden for weeks. I always assumed our parents were taking care of her. I never asked. I never really checked in. I was too busy trying to manage a recent divorce. I had a 5-year-old son, a full-time job, and a brain that was barely holding it together. I texted her, but no, I didn't go to the hospital. I assumed our parents were taking care of her. I was wrong. I'm not defending it. But she said it was my ex's wife who stepped up. She said they weren't friends before the accident. She was cordial to her. They only became close after the accident. She took her to every appointment, picked up prescriptions, brought food, helped her move around, stayed with her when she couldn't be alone. And at one point she said, I know it hurts you, but she was there. He was there. You weren't. You didn't even come to the hospital. I thought I was gonna die, and you didn't even show up. She cried while telling me all this. She said she still wants a relationship with me, but she's not going to cut them off. She also said she's fine with me not helping her with the loans anymore. She's planning to get a part-time job and figure it out herself. She told my ex and the wife about our conversation. Apparently, they offered to help her financially, but she turned it down too. I just listened. Then I told her she's free to do whatever she wants, and so am I. And to never call me again. So that's where we are. Well, OP, to me, the update doesn't change my judgment. Still not the a-hole. Sure, you could have visited her, but you were in the middle of your life being torn apart. And the fact that your sister's telling you this now sounds to me like she was holding a grudge. She simply came to collect. So for me, still not the a-hole. I hope you can work through all of this and keep moving forward, OP. So here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? Would I be the A-hole public? And it's by user deleted. Would I be the a-hole if I accused my mom of sabotaging my truck and forbidding her from using it? I, 19 male, have been saving for a truck for over a year now, using money from part-time jobs. I'm on the waiting list to get into the job field I actually want. I also currently still stay at home and I've been using my mom's, 56 female, vehicle to get back and forth to work, as she is recently retired and doesn't go out much. I saved up enough to buy a used pickup that I really wanted and that I test drove several times to make sure it was in good condition. I bought the truck, paid for several months of insurance up front, and it got registered. I drove it around for a few days and it ran fine. A few days ago, my mom asked to borrow it, saying she needed a pickup to help a friend move some things, and I agreed. All I said was that I needed the gas replaced. I was respectful and thought that was fair since I've been paying for all the gas and the maintenance on her car for the last year as part of the deal for me using it. I got the truck back that evening and it's been giving me problems since. It's been stalling on me and sometimes, most of the time, won't even crank. I asked my mom about it and she got snooty and said that she had her mechanic friend look at it and he replaced some wires and tuned it up, but it ran fine when she parked it. That's when red flags went up. Yes, the truck had a few issues, so it probably needs a tune-up, but I changed the oil and spark plugs when I got it. I have the previous owner's maintenance receipts, and as I said, nothing was so bad on it that I could drive it for several days before I lent it to her. I should say, this is the messy part, my mom has a habit of being financially controlling, and she did not like it when I got the truck. She wanted me to buy a sedan from one of her friends, and she complained non-stop when I brought the truck home. She told me outright that it was a waste of money and I shouldn't have bought a vehicle from someone I didn't know. Examples of her being financially controlling are how she keeps track of my work hours and on top of paying her rent that's equal to half my pay, I also have to buy groceries for both myself and her. She also won't let me have access to the money my dad left when he died a few years ago and constantly gripes whenever I spend money on myself, which isn't often. I've only bought some clothes and a few games for my PC over the last year because of how hard I was working to save for a vehicle. Her mechanic friend also isn't a legit mechanic. He's a guy who replaces parts for people and does oil changes out of his garage. I've noticed over the past few years that he can't really diagnose a vehicle and he won't work on vehicles if the person who brings it in doesn't tell him exactly what they want replaced. I personally feel like she took it to him and had him do something to the truck, but I have no proof. This kind of petty isn't beyond her. She slashed a neighbor's pool once because they didn't drain them out at the end of summer and they were just breeding mosquitoes and constantly reports minor things to the police. My aunt told me last night that if my mom and I have it out, I can stay with her family, and I'm really considering accusing my mom to her face of sabotaging the truck. If I do, I know she'll kick me out. Plus, I still have to pay to have the truck taken to a real mechanic. But she's been bitching at me non-stop about how much of a crappy decision I made and how she told me it was a waste of money. So, would I be the a-hole if I told her off and accused her of sabotaging my truck? I'm fairly certain that's what happened, and I'm about to break down under the stress and disappointment. OP, you're not the a-hole and you don't need to waste time on an accusation. She confessed already. She told you she took the truck to her friend the mechanic and it ran well before that, just needed a minor tune-up, and now it doesn't run at all. So yeah, it is sabotage, but I think the problem is that she didn't like that you made an independent decision, so she punished it. This isn't about the truck at all, OP, it's about control. The move now, in my opinion, isn't confrontation, it's exit. Get the truck looked at by a real mechanic, document the damage, take your aunt up on the offer, and then get out. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Illustrious Bank 4859 says, you also need to contact a lawyer regarding the payment from your father's death. You are old enough to stand up for yourself, so why have you allowed this woman to take control of your life, sabotage and manipulate you? I think you personally need to get the hell out of that house before she F's you up good and proper. Once you get your own place, you can cut all ties with her, and good riddance to her. And Dopey responds, I agree. Respectfully though, it's kind of hard to do all that when you started broke and someone is working hard to keep you that way. Lawyers around here don't really like to do things on contingency, and trust me when I say the price of the truck I just bought barely covered the retainer for the more affordable ones. I've tried. I'm sorry, I'm a mess right now. My aunt just offered me a place to stay yesterday because she honestly had no idea how things were. I'm probably going to start packing and moving out today and have the truck towed to a mechanic. CAD 9057 says, you should get your truck checked, and if they need to do any extra repairs as a consequence of what she did, send her the invoice and move out regardless. Open your own bank account. You can legally do that. Don't give her access to it. Jos Karith says, go live with your aunt. Use the money saved to get a proper mechanic to take a look. Go to the friend with the mechanic's report saying that he didn't have the permission of the owner of the vehicle to do anything to your vehicle, so he's on the hook for the repairs. Stand back and watch the sparks fly. And Artsy Fartsy Minion says, you didn't say what fuel the truck uses, but did she put the wrong type of fuel in it? Open your independent bank account, move out, make sure you take any special or sentimental things with you. I wouldn't put it past her to throw out those things you hold dear. Get your truck fixed, and if there's evidence of tampering, let her know that you know what she did. Good luck. The community is telling OP that he needs to leave as soon as possible and get a lawyer because his mom sucks, and no, he would not be the a-hole. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. This will be the only update. This is an alt account I made because my mom knows about my other account I've had for a few years, so I'll be deleting it this weekend. So to answer some questions that people asked, why don't I get a better job? I was working 2 part-time jobs. Good jobs aren't easy to come by where I live. That's part of the complication with moving in with my aunt, as she lives an hour away and I would have to find work all over again. That issue has been resolved though. Did my dad leave a will? If he did, I've never seen it. I don't think he did, but when I asked my aunt about it on Thursday, she is my dad's sister, she said she didn't think he did. But that's part of the update. The update itself is this. My mom and I did have a major argument, and I am now at my aunt's until I save up enough to get my own place. The argument wasn't over the truck though, although that did come into play. Basically, I took the advice of everyone who commented who said I just go no contact and move out. I had to make sure I could get a job though, and my uncle was able to get me a decent job as a construction laborer for the company he works for. I start Monday. My aunt and uncle came over last night to load my truck onto a trailer and tow it to a mechanic closer to where they live. They are going to loan me the money to get it fixed. I talked to my mom's mechanic friend and he said that she brought it in for a tune-up because it was backfiring. Long story short, the timing belt started whining, so he replaced it. What my mom didn't tell me was that the truck had to be towed home because he didn't time it correctly and she was supposed to get a professional to look at it. That explains why the truck has only cranked once since then. So that's the good news. The truck is fixable and my aunt and uncle are going to help me. When I told my aunt the full story about the truck and the money my dad left for me, she got mad and told me that she and my uncle were coming over Thursday night to pick me and my truck up. She wouldn't tell me what exactly she was mad about, but I was packed up that evening when they showed up. As soon as she got there, she got into a fight with my mom asking her about my dad's money. There was a lot of cursing and names called, and my mom almost called the police, but my aunt, and this scared the crap out of me, threatened to have her arrested for fraud if she didn't own up. So the cops weren't called. I'm not going to go into the full details of the argument because it's too much to type, but basically my mom has been pulling small amounts out every month for the last year to supplement her retirement salary. Apparently, the account was put in trust before my dad died, and my mom was the trustee, which is what made my aunt mad because she knew the money was there and didn't know that I had never received any of it. I hadn't ever talked finances with her before this. My mom doesn't want to turn the account over because she claims that the trust paperwork says that she's not required to until I turn 25. She also started yelling at me for running my mouth to my aunt and accusing me of trying to ruin her retirement and that she deserved that money for taking care of me and my dad when he got sick and etc. I got pissed and told her that I was going to sue her for the money and that I knew what happened to the truck and I was going to sue her for that too. She kind of broke down and started saying how hard it had been for her since my dad died, but I didn't buy it because she's always been petty and controlling, even when I was a kid. She basically told me to get out and try to turn it into a pity party about how hurt she was and how was she going to pay bills and etc. I just left. The mechanic my aunt and uncle are paying for says he can have the truck running by Tuesday because he's backed up until then, but I'll take that. Next week, my aunt is going to start looking for a new lawyer for me. My uncle suggested the same thing a lot of commenters did, which was that we call the state bar and see if there are any lawyers that need pro bono hours. Right now, I'm fully no contact with my mom, and she's left me 5 or 6 texts that range from, "I'm sorry, let's talk about everything," to, "You're an ungrateful son, how could you betray me like this?" I'm just ignoring them. Thank you all who commented for the advice, especially all of you who advised I keep my cool. She was really ready to call the cops on my aunt, so I can imagine she would have done the same to me if I confronted her. I'm just going to save up for now. The job I'm waiting for is now out of the picture due to how far away I now live, but I'm thinking about trying for trade school or an apprenticeship in one of the trades. Thank you all for the good advice. I really wouldn't have been able to set everything in motion without you all. Well, OP, one step at a time, good for you. You're finally free of your mom and you're gonna make her pay. Good for you, OP. Here's wishing you all the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.